lost.
This is where I came from, John. The Dharma Initiative.
We're not supposed to leave.
Jacob, this is John.
We have to go back, Kate.
If you phone her boat, every single living person on this island will be killed.
This is the Lost Initiative from Sky One.
We have to go back!
Hello, I'm Ian Lee, and I've just watched episode 5, The Constant, the greatest episode ever, and this is The Lost Initiative.
The Lost Initiative with Ian Lee.
I'm joined as always by Paul Terry, editor of the official Lost magazine.
Hello.
Yes. Geeky Tom.
Hello.
High five, Geeky Tom.
High five. Oh, we missed.
High five, Paul Terry. We got it.
It was good.
Was that, in my mind, that was the greatest episode of Lost I've ever seen in my life.
I'm still a little bit, I think vibrating might be a word. I'm still vibrating a little bit.
It went by in a matter of seconds, like some kind of crazy flash forward.
I felt a tiny little bit sexual watching that. It was seriously, it was so good.
Was that the couch?
It was. Well, no, it was. I was sat next to you. It was such a good episode. The last two, I'll be honest, they've had good bits, but I felt they were a little bit lackluster. This is the best episode ever, and it was sad and powerful and all. Anyway, let's discuss the episode, and I'll try and calm down and stop enthusing as much. This week's episode is where we see our friends on the helicopter again, and Jack and Juliet demand answers from Daniel as to why the helicopter hasn't arrived at the freighter despite leaving a day ago.
Your perception of how long your friends have been gone, it's not necessarily how long they've actually been gone. What does that mean?
This is a mistake.
It'll be fine. It'll be fine. As long as Frank flew on the bearings that I gave him, if he stayed on it, it'll be fine.
And what if he didn't?
Then there might be side effects.
And there were side effects for Desmond, of course. The fact that he starts jumping about through time and all that. We'll get to that in a second, but let's just have a recap of what we've learned. I'll see if you agree or disagree. Perception of time is different on the island to the outside world.
Yeah.
Anything else that you've learned? Or
No, it seems to be backing up pretty much everything I've said for the last 2 seasons.
Yeah,
carry on.
We know it's day 96 on the island, but on the freighter calendar it says it's December the 24th, making it... Do the maths.
I've been doing brain training as well.
94 days. So hang on, that's only 2 days difference.
Hang on. No, I've got a point about that. I'm
Paul.
Convinced that the that calendar, whatchamacallit, the calendar on the freighter is a ruse or is afoot. Something's afoot to keep them feeling in that particular room that is the correct time frame.
I think that the 94.
I've said it.
Yeah, I think that they've been on the island perhaps less than the 94 days as perceived by the outside world. Do you
I agree.
Understand where I'm coming from?
I do, yes.
Well, in that case, does he say? Well, we're jumping all over the place, which kind of befits this episode. When Desi speaks to Penny, does he say on the phone, "I've been on this island for 3 years"? He doesn't, does he? Because it wouldn't be 3 years to her.
But that's the bit that completely threw me, because he says it's a date into Christmas Eve 2004 that I will call you. So therefore,
then it
that
has
completely
to be.
negates what I've just said. But then I always thought that they were further in the future on the freighter and off the island than on the island. That's why this. Actually,
So you've just defeated your own argument because he actually phones Penny up on December 24th.
In a classic episode 5 style. Yeah, I've gone back.
Tom,
I've looked at it and it was rubbish.
Tom, you're still here. I didn't realise. All right, well, you can have this one.
Flunking his own ideas.
This is another thing we've learned. The turbulence in the helicopter combined with the electromagnetism that Desmond was exposed to when he turned the failsafe key have caused him to jump back to 1996, and this time he has no memory of the present.
And we're talking about things that we think are true. Or what? We're just going, what are we doing? Where are we?
Tom, what year is it? What year is it?
We've all got Desi sickness.
I know, I'm feeling it.
That flying into the storm has made him jump back and forth between 1996, but have no recollection.
Well, yeah, we just watched the episode that happened.
We're
correct?
We're just recapping, Tom.
Don't sully it. This is still the greatest episode.
It's still a good episode, but that's definitely what happened in the episode when I saw it.
They must have deviated off the path slightly on the old chopper.
Tom's path.
What do you want me to say?
Okay. Can you? Okay, answer this.
Right.
Can you explain the time difference on the island? Go on.
No, I can't.
Okay. The turbulence made Desi very sick, and that's what caused him. Was it the turbulence? Was it the fact? Let me finish the question. Was it the turbulence? Was it the act of going through this potential force field? Or was it the fact that the pilot may have wavered off course by 1 or 2 degrees that affected Desmond? What do you think, Paul Terry?
I'll go for C, I think.
The fact that he wavered off course. Because we did see the dial.
He was struggling with not necessarily a storm. I think he was struggling to actually stay on course because there is some kind of weird time shift through that particular bearing.
Now, this time, Desmond is jumping in time back to 1996, and he's got Daniel to help him.
Desmond, look, you gotta tell me. Where are you?
I'm in some kind of sick bay.
No, not right now, Desmond. Where are you supposed to be? Where are you in 1996?
I'm at Camp Miller. It's Royal Scots Regiment. It's just north of Glasgow.
Desmond, listen. When it happens again, Desmond, I need you to get on a train. Get on a train and go to Oxford. Oxford University, Queen's College Physics Department, all right?
What? Why?
Because I need you to find me.
So Desmond goes to find him and gives him the numbers that he needs, and then Daniel uses them to give a rat a massive radiation dose and make its mind jump to the future by an hour. That kind of blew my mind a bit, really.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
Now, he tells Daniel that he ends up on an island. This could be, what's the thing I learnt in sociology, where it's self-fulfilling prophecy.
Right.
Yeah.
Where you think something's going to happen, so it happens because you've been thinking it's going to happen, so you've consciously or subconsciously been drawing yourself towards that outcome.
He said that you can't change the future, and he said that quite sort of off the cuff, didn't he, to Desmond?
But I don't believe that's true.
No, exactly, but why would he say that?
To lie to him and confuse him.
Do we trust him? Do we trust
I
Mr.
think
Faraday?
I trust him.
But Desmond has influenced the future
Yeah.
in that he has cured himself in 2004 of hopping back and forth betwixt times.
What would Ms. Hawkins say about that, eh?
Well, now, Miss Hawkins, it's interesting you should mention her, because is she one of these people that jumps about in time, or is she a constant?
Ah, nice one.
I think that they knew, with her, they knew the periods that he was going to be jumping back to and the exact points. So they told her, Hanzo told her kind of prior to when he was going to jump back, freak him out a bit. Tell him that, you're not supposed to do this.
Hanzo gets mentioned as well, doesn't he?
Yeah, it does.
It's to do with the Black Rock
that was
and
good.
the log and all of that.
Or
Very
the
exciting.
auction. Yeah, that was good.
Why is Jim Robinson, what's his name in this? I can never remember his name. It's
Jim
always...
Robinson.
No, that's just our shorthand for Alan Dale.
Alan
isn't it?
Dale. Why is Penny's dad buying that? You got suspicious at that point, didn't you, Paul? And thought he's buying the log, the only remaining artefact from the Black Rock, which of course, as we know, is shipwrecked on the island.
Yeah.
If all the Black Rock crew went through what the other...
Sorry, Tom, I was actually putting that to Paul. I do apologise. Paul, thank you.
The fact that he was basically collating all the evidence of the ship in its entirety and no one else ever finding out anything about the boat obviously is incredibly important, and he was determined to win the auction. But that's going to come up further on in the show, surely, what actually the logbook says or what happened to the boat. Tom, pick up.
Tom, what do you think he wants it so much?
You want me now, do you?
I'm going to give you a slap in a minute.
Unbelievable. I think he knows more than he's letting on about Desmond and about him going through time, and I've got a feeling that the people on the Black Rock went through the same thing that the guys on the boat did, the two that tried to get to the island, and that log is going to be full of kind of people's freaky experiences going back through time.
It's odd, isn't it? They say, well, no one knows what's in the log apart from the owner.
Yeah.
No, it's never been revealed. So it's got to be something pretty.
Basically,
heavy.
this is like the big secret, I reckon. On the island.
Here's a quick theory. Before we go back and we talk about the jumping about through time, that Charles Widmore, is behind the freighter that Syed and Desmond are now on.
I like that. Yeah. That's nice.
That holds credence, doesn't it?
I like Widmore versus Penny type.
Yeah.
The type thing. That'd
Like
be quite cool.
inter-family tensions. I love the bit because we thought it was just referring to Penny, but when he says it's not me that hates you, I kind of want that to be not Penny. I want him to be referring to something else, which is the bigger mythology of the show.
You did say, Tom, that that's probably Penny he's referring to, but there could be something. There could be a greater force that hates him. That's how I interpret it. Yeah.
Yeah. Because he seemed very willing to give the number and the address. Just.
We'll go back to when Desmond meets up with Penny in a bit. But going back to when they're on the boat and Dad. By the way, fair play. Wasn't Desmond fantastic? What great acting when he's going all mad. I don't know you, brother. I don't know you. Yeah. He was saying brother by that point, wasn't he? Because he joined the monastery before he was in the army. And Daniel tells Desmond that to prevent him dying, like the rat, for his brain just exploded or whatever, he needs a constant. Now, Minkowski didn't have a constant and dies.
Yep.
Why wouldn't they let Daniel talk to Minkowski? Because he obviously knows how to stop it. Everyone on the boat was a bit, well, no, don't let him talk to anyone about it.
They seem to be really suspicious or, just think Faraday's a lunatic. They just think, don't let him speak to anybody.
I think they know about the time travel, and I think that maybe Faraday is changing the past and the future. I know he says you can never change the future. Maybe he is.
That he's manipulating things to his end.
Yeah, and they're like, well, you shouldn't be doing that because look what happened to Hanzo or Dharma on that island when they tried it with the rabbit.
Could it be who's the fella, the psychic fella? I can never remember his name.
Oh, Miles.
Because Miles last week asked for $3.2 million. Do you think that they could be working in this together to try and influence the future to get a stack load of money?
Well, maybe they're.
Is that me being naive?
Well, maybe
that'd be good. Something that I try to do.
Yeah.
They're doing Back to the Future too with the magazine.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
But maybe it's Ben.
The almanac.
Maybe Ben's permanently in flux or travelling all over time and space, and
I think they
affecting
use
things.
I think they use his consciousness.
He's a time
transporter.
criminal.
I'll stop everyone there because I've just had a brilliant idea.
All right.
You know the sickness that Rousseau goes on about?
Right.
Could that be the sickness? The nosebleeds, the jumping back and forth through time, and then the dying.
Oh, nice. And then she shoots them all.
Yeah,
Stupidly, could have found out something about time travel.
That could be the sickness that she refers
that is
to.
Actually brilliant.
And that's oh god, I'm getting all sexy again. The quarantine. That's why the island is quarantined from inside the hatch, the initial hatch. It says quarantine, don't go out there.
Wait a minute.
That's why the dude has to wear the bodysuit.
I'm going to pick up that bat and I'm going to run that way with it.
Fella.
And the shots, the reason why there's no effects is because the shots are a preventative measure in case you ever do start fluxing through time. So they don't appear to do anything because no one has any magnetism problems. It's all wrapped up.
You've got to admit, Tom, that Paul and I have got an excellent theory, and unless you can contribute anything to it, it's going to be copyright us.
Tom, top the topper. Go on.
The
trumper.
I think there's something in that.
That's
because
pretty good.
The quarantine thing and the injections hasn't been mentioned for a long, long time on the island. But and we kind of poo-pooed it as maybe it's all a bit of huff and puff. But
I think someone should go back and look at what the serial number was on the injection thing, and maybe you see something in that medical bay on the freighter. See if they've got the same.
Tom, that's your project for the coming week.
Go Tom. Go Tom.
What about? But can't Dharma transport living things through time though, not just your consciousness?
Well, in one of those videos that's on the internet,
There's
we see a rabbit that moves around.
and then there's the polar bear in the Sahara as well.
Yeah.
So maybe they're trying to work out a way of sending a whole person back through time.
Maybe that's a mistake. Yeah, like the X-Files did that, didn't they? With a lizard going through time and being in a rock.
Oh, don't! I've stopped you there. I'm not interested in that. What are you talking about that rubbish program for? Now, Daniel, did he send Desmond back in time? Because Daniel could have explained on the phone that you need a constant, couldn't he? To Desmond. So did he send Desmond back in time to help Desmond or to help Daniel?
I think Daniel wiped his own memory because it kind of leads on to right at the end of the show.
Yep.
When we see that revelation about how Desmond's his constant.
Yep.
I think he's wiped his own memory.
Why and how?
Okay, this kind of defeats what I was saying before.
Okay.
Remember, they pointed out he wasn't wearing any head protection.
Yes, the radiation.
Nice.
So he's going to have a broken bonds at some point.
Wasn't there talk of him being a bit bonkers as well, wasn't there? It was hinted at he was a bit of a psycho, and that could be because of, I don't know what radiation does to one's brain.
Well, you know
I'd imagine it could.
Remember, Desmond didn't know who he was when he went back in time.
Yeah.
And we've seen that he's...
Desmond knew who he was when he went back in time.
Well, when he came forward, he didn't know anybody.
When he came forward, he didn't know anybody. When
His
he went back,
consciousness
he knew
was
who
still
he
stuck.
was.
Yeah, so I'm just trying to think that maybe the Daniel on the island we see now is maybe the Daniel that Desmond was with right in Oxford. Because he's sent himself...
Oh, so he's still in flux?
Maybe, he sent him... Because he's blatantly sent himself over into the future, into the past.
So you're thinking maybe he put his head under the thing that he zapped the rat with to send himself forwards?
Yeah.
I know, I'm not into that.
How would that work?
I don't know, I'm just putting that out there.
Well, it's a theory, Tom. It's a theory.
He seemed surprised. He seemed like he didn't remember writing that in the book. That passage.
Obviously, that book is full and he's going back 8 years, but he would remember that, wouldn't he? And when he met Desmond for the first time on the island, he would go, "Oh, well, I met you, didn't I, 8 years ago?"
Exactly.
You're the guy that made my machine work.
Yeah, you helped me invent time travel, remember?
But he's having trouble remembering cards. Maybe that's...
This is the thing, the three cards.
Maybe he's doing a lot of memory tests to try and get his long-term memory back. Maybe it's a memento type thing. His long-term memory is traumatised still. Maybe because of that whole thing with Desmond.
He's a great character, though.
It's
I like Daniel.
But yeah, the cards thing is a mystery. There's obviously something to do with memory, and it is possible that he's jumping about in time himself.
He is. It's fact.
But he's not nosebleeding or anything. He doesn't seem traumatised.
Maybe he's learnt to control it.
Maybe
there is something what Tom is saying about
injections.
The injections.
Could be, yeah.
So that any idea? I mean, that could have something to do with the fact that he's crying when he sees the 815 wreckage on the thing. Maybe he's come from the future and gone back, and I don't know.
Wait a minute.
Yes.
What if Miles isn't the Ghostbuster? What if Miles can contact consciousnesses that are in flux, and that's his skill, rather than actually them
Paul's on fire today.
He's good.
He's good.
How's that for you?
And those pictures that look like Echo, maybe because Echo was on the island and possibly in flux.
Maybe people who don't die aren't really dead. It's just that their spirit or their mind is in flux, is separated from their body.
So Desmond picks Penny to be his constant, and he manages to track her down to find out her new phone number.
7946 0893.
7846 0893 7846.
All that, and you're not going to write it down.
It wouldn't do any good. You have to keep that number. You can't change
Just
that
get
number
out.
for 8
Get
years.
out.
Just remember, December the 24th, 2004. Look, Penny, if you still care about me, you have to answer. I'm not crazy, Penny. You have to believe me. You have to trust me.
So luckily Desmond remembers the number, but he's quite good at remembering the numbers when he's jumping back and forth, and Penny stays in that day. The thing that confuses me about that when Desmond speaks to Penny is that's a long time to keep the same phone number, isn't it? 8 years.
He did tell her to.
But
yeah, I know what you mean. It is.
If you've got a mad Scotsman banging on your door, give me a phone number, I've phoned you in 8 years, that's it. Would you really take that on board?
But if he honestly never went and saw her again in that 8 years, then...
But she said that there was the thing about I've been looking for you for the past few years, so it wasn't completely out of the blue. It wasn't like there's been 8 years of nothing.
He must go back in time again and go, hang on, I need you to come and find me.
Go on, this is your theory you mentioned during the show.
Yeah, that Desmond blatantly gets Penny to start looking for him. He must do another bounce back to the past and go, hey Penny, I'm stuck on an island, nobody knows where we are, can he come and get me please?
Maybe he doesn't remember one of his flashbacks after the electromagnetism purge thingy.
But she does say that she's been looking for the island for about 3 years. I think she says 3 years. So that means that Desmond has been on the island for 3 years, give or take 2 days.
Which would scan, wouldn't it?
Well, yeah, I am slightly confused about how
Timeline, yeah.
I think it's got to be when you pass through that
She probably
force
didn't
field.
mean like to the day I've been looking for you for 3 years.
How does she know about the island? Because Desmond doesn't mention it to her.
She's doing some research.
She said she was doing some research.
And then she gets cut off by him when she's probably about to go, it's that island, that's special.
But what research? I mean, that could back up your theory that he's jumped through time again and said, I'm on an island, you've got to come and find me. I don't think.
Or she stumbled across, like you were saying earlier, about the Widmore family politics. Maybe she stumbled across something her dad's involved in.
Maybe for the Black Rock diary. Maybe she's read that. The logbook.
Well, it would be well good.
Yeah.
A Black Rock like flashback about all the people on the boat.
What about the captain of the Black Rock looks exactly like Desmond and it's an ancestor and he fluxes into him at some point?
Minkowski was adamant that no one was allowed to take Penny's phone calls. Pourquoi?
Ooh, that's a good one.
I felt really sorry for him because I originally sort of hated him when you heard him over the transceiver thing, because you're thinking, well, you're obviously up to something, but then you meet him and he's the one who's in huge amounts of trouble.
It could be that we mentioned this earlier briefly that they've been told not to take Penny's phone calls because Charles Widmore is in charge of that freighter.
Yeah, that makes sense.
He doesn't.
I still can't quite suss out why he was the one who started consciousness jumping through time. Minkowski. What actually happened?
Those two got in a boat and tried to get closer to the island.
Is that what did it?
Didn't follow the vector.
Well, we don't no idea who the captain is of this ship, have we? It's not been hinted at.
No, we've not. No, we've not.
And
met
we
the
still don't know
captain
who Ben's person is on there. Who left the door open? Any theories? Could it be any of the people we've met so far?
Could be Richard Alpert.
Well,
because we've not seen him for a bit.
You think he's on the boat though?
Well, we've not seen him on the island for a while, and we know that he can leave the island because he was in America, wasn't he?
My money is kind of on the pilot. I don't think it's those two beefcakes.
No,
but Kimi and Omar. Yeah, I don't.
That was a good ruck in the room, wasn't it?
That was a good punch up. Tiny Saeed. He is tiny in real life.
One of the reasons why it could be the pilot is Ben went back in time, told the pilot don't fly that plane because it's going to crash. And he was like, all right, do this one thing for me.
I didn't like the doctor, I'll be honest.
I thought it was quite frightening. I thought it was going to be a bit more caring.
I thought it was a little bit creepy.
Well, that's probably the idea, isn't it?
On the freighter, Kimi and Omar, the muscle, we'll refer to them from now on, the beefcakes, they reveal that they're in the Pacific and they last docked in Fiji. Do we believe that? Are we any closer to working out where the island is at all?
They don't come across as clued up, do they?
One of them said, I don't know where we are. We're probably in the Pacific somewhere.
Yeah,
they're really confused, but they had no idea where they were.
I don't think they come across as people who are sort of conspiratorial. They just seem like they just hired help.
Thick. They were goons.
Yeah. Well, we've got an email. If you ready for an email?
I'd love an email.
Tom? Okay, this is from Jack. As I'm sure you know, if you turn the numbers into latitude and longitude, the coordinates give you the location of a point on the route of the flight from Sydney to LA in the Pacific Ocean. I didn't know that. Was that?
I think we covered that a couple of years ago.
That.
Yeah.
What's a couple of years ago? Jesus.
Close by is a small island, which in the northeast of the island has a runway with a number 23 to be exact. This brings me on to my next point, antipodes. An antipode, in geographical terms, is a place diametrically opposite from another. The antipode of this island just happens to be Tunisia. People have suggested the theory of wormholes, etc., but you can make of it what you want. Oh, well, thanks for that, Jack. He's letting us make of it what we want.
It's very diplomatic sort of email. Yeah.
Tom. This is still saying
it's kind of, yeah, I don't know, yeah, it's alright.
Yeah, it's alright.
It's a nod and a wink to previous theories, but
I don't think
more than that,
I don't remember knowing that longitude and latitude as being a definite confirmed fact.
I didn't think that worked for some reason.
I'm sure fans have discussed that before on the show, like a long time ago.
It's too obvious, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's far too obvious.
Okay, well, we've got a caller on the lost line. It's another Jack, but this Jack doesn't use a C in their name. It's J-A-K. Hello, Jack.
Hey!
So, Jack, with only a K and no C, what do you make of the show and what have you got for us?
Basically, the theory I have is really backed up by now in regards to all the thing with the times on the clock a couple of weeks ago.
Yes.
Last week with the boat thing and all of that.
Yes.
So basically, I actually think that the real world is slower rather than faster than the island, and that the time distance was more than that.
Well, hang on. You think what's smaller than what? The real world?
Yeah, you know how with the clocks a couple of weeks ago,
Yeah.
there was the thing with the time difference where it was 31 seconds later in the real world.
Yes.
So therefore we assume the island has a smaller time, it basically goes slower.
Yes. Yeah. Okay.
Well, actually I think it's more of a distance, and that it's actually that the world goes slower than the actual island, and that the distance could be several days.
Okay.
What do you mean? I'm confused by the methods of measurement you're using. You think the distance is greater? The distance, between the boat and the island, or between... I'm slightly confused.
Basically, I think that the world, say, is a couple of days ahead of us.
Right.
And then instead of it being, what was it, 30 minutes?
Yeah.
30 seconds,
30
something
minutes,
like
30
that.
seconds was the ratio, yes.
Well, instead of that, I think it's actually a couple of days.
Right.
Ahead in the future, and the time is some weird proportion thing.
Yep.
If that works, then that could explain a lot of things.
Yes, it could do.
Such as,
Yes.
in the future,
Yes.
Saeed could do something that could affect his past on the island.
Oh, right, okay.
Well, yeah, we hinted at this briefly, I think, last
week. So you think
week,
the flash forwards aren't as far in the future as we think they are?
No, I think they're actually around about the same time.
Ooh.
But
okay, yeah.
Keep going.
When they go from whenever they leave the island,
Yeah.
the reason it took so long
Yes.
to get to the freighter
Yeah.
was because they were actually travelling backwards in time. So therefore,
right.
Backwards in
So therefore,
time.
as soon as they arrived, it had taken a lot longer than was estimated because they were actually travelled back.
That couldn't work because...
Here we go.
That couldn't work because how could they fire a rocket from the past?
Fire a rocket from the past?
Yes. Because you're saying the freighter is back in time.
Oh, no.
Well, you
If
did.
the freighter is back in time,
Yeah.
then they fired it, and say there was like some gap between these two places, and the Lost Island
Yeah.
is a separate dimension to the real world.
Yes.
Well, then if they fired the rocket, let's say they go into this
You're listening
area
to the
that's
Lost
in between the
Initiative.
two of them, then if the Lost Island is actually
Yeah.
in the future,
Right.
and the real world is in the past,
Yes.
then when they fired the rocket, it will have travelled
The rocket, yeah.
a distance into this like void
The void.
that I picture is there.
You picture the void there.
That would
yes?
work.
I picture it like 3 lines.
Tom,
One
I
of
think
them
I
is
know
the
what you're
real
saying.
Hang on,
world.
hang on, Jack. Tom is on your side. Tom,
I
fill
don't know,
in-
like the whole time phone thing. They have to have those special phones, and they said in this episode.
Can I
that,
just jot that down? Time phone. That's a brilliant name for a
Time
film.
phone.
Yes.
That's good.
if these phones aren't affected by this obvious lag that's between the
Yes.
two time periods?
Because he did say... Okay, because they did say in this episode that
Yeah.
those phones only talk to each other.
Exactly.
They're time phones. They are. That's a brilliant idea. That's a good
It's
concept.
great. It's great. It's great.
All right, Jack, anything else? We're running out of time, so we've got time for one more thing.
The one thing is that whatever they do in the future or in the past has affected what they do on the island. So, for example,
Yep.
if it is in the past, then maybe the future
Yes.
that we see is actually at even times with the island time that we see.
Yes.
And it's just jumping between different dimensions.
Yeah.
So therefore, say Saeed kills someone,
Yeah.
it might have a consequence on the island,
Yeah.
and therefore something might happen to him.
Well, Jack, listen, thanks very much for that.
Thanks.
Cheers, dude.
Take care, bye-bye.
See ya.
The Lost Initiative.
We've got an email from Rusty Steele. Have I been tricked into saying something rude? Nearly. Rusty Steele, and it's about the Whispers.
All right.
I was reading the excellent book Finding Lost by writer Nikki Stafford. I don't know this book. Do we know
Is
this
it
book?
It does ring a bell.
Do we know this book?
I don't know.
It rings
Right,
a bell.
well, can we give Nikki Stafford, if you're listening, I would love a free copy of it, please. I don't know about this. When I came across some news that reminded me of the Whispers. Apparently, whenever someone analyses the Whispers closely, they seem to be talking about other people on the island, mentioning names like Nikki, Desmond and Shannon. Now, in the Echo-centric episode, remember when Tom used to call Mr. Echo Mr. Eco? Remember that? That was weird, wasn't it?
I don't know why I did that.
always freaked me out.
I was too embarrassed to bring it up.
I know.
You know.
I was young back then.
Now, in the eco-centric episode, Echo listens to the tape of the young girl who woke up in the middle of her own autopsy. According to Finding Lost, when the young girl wakes up screaming, she is shouting the words, "Let him go, let John Locke go." This sounds eerily similar to some of the phrases uttered by the Whisperers. Could it be they were all trapped in the same place? Perhaps the Whispers are ghosts. Well, first of all, I don't know what this book is. I would need to check this book out. I'm always dubious of reading too much into the Whispers after we analysed them. Do you remember that, Tom?
Yeah.
We analysed them, and could you hear something? Couldn't you? Maybe you could.
I remember that very vividly.
Yeah, you didn't chip in too much in the conversation.
You're a bit stunned.
I was a bit stunned, yeah.
Let him go, let John Locke go. I mean, that's...
It's in the book, yeah?
Was in the book.
Is it on the TV?
Sorry?
Is it on TV, or is it in the book?
Well, I think there's a few words missing from that sentence. What are you trying to say?
Is that she read this in a book, yeah?
Yes.
About Lost?
Yes.
But it wasn't on TV?
No,
she's suggesting that the book suggested it is on the episode, and you can't hear it the way it's mixed.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. And I'd like to hear it before I start believing it.
Before you pass judgment.
Don't believe anything in books.
Yeah, books full of all their stupid facts.
Jesus.
Oh, all these facts in books. No, thank you. Paul, does this? Have you heard anything of this? Let John Locke go.
I hope they're not just ghosts. I mean, no one more than me wants the Whispers to be, a really amazing, scary element of the show. But
sorry,
ghosts,
to interrupt.
No. But carry on.
Tom's about to have a go at me, ladies and gentlemen. This is going to be good.
God, I'm not.
Stop clenching your fists.
It's just that that I always used to say, like, this is all based in fact. Even the producers have said...
The producer said this could all happen. Well, I'll direct them to this episode.
Exactly. Like, we watch this episode and time travel seems to be the main part of it, and they start hitting a rat with a beam of light, and...
Can you hit a rat with light?
I don't know.
Okay, get to the point.
But is it real? Time travel isn't real. So why can't ghosts be real? Now that, I've had my mind blown by that kind of revelation of time travel in this episode, and it's kind of pretty. Don't just let me hang here, Jesus.
But why would the ghosts appear at these points in the show?
They're not ghosts.
Yeah,
they're not ghosts. And I know what they are. They are people stuck in flux. They are fluxed up. They are stuck. That's what they are. They are all fluxed up. Completely. That's it, isn't it?
They are completely fluxed.
But it'd be wicked if that. Well, finding out why they appear at those points, the scary points in the show. Why can you hear them at that point?
It would indeed be wicked. If you want to get in touch, either on the Lost line or send us an email, then you can do. We'd love to hear from you. Send it to lost@sky1.co.uk. Lost@sky1.co.uk with your phone number or what you want to talk about and bits and pieces like that. Paul, thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Tom, thank you.
Always a pleasure.
Yeah, can I just say it was a pleasure watching that with you boys today. I felt we bonded a bit.
It was good.
Episode 6, The Other Woman, is on next Sunday, the 9th of March, Sky 1 at 9 p.m. Do we know whose it is?
No, this is being kept very much under wraps.
Is it?
Is it a good one? Is it a bad one?
Is it a good one?
Is it good?
They're all good, apart from the last two. And don't forget, if you miss it on the telly, you can watch it on Sky Anytime, sponsored by Lost, the video game, available now on PS3, Xbox 360 and PC. Find out more at lostgame.com. To get your Lost fix in the meantime, go to sky1.co.uk Lost, where you can see some exclusive clips and behind-the-scenes interviews from Matthew Fox's new movie, Vantage Point, at cinemas from the 7th of March. And we'll be back the very second that we've watched episode 6 to give you our expert opinions. I'm Ian Lee. That was the Lost Initiative. All together now, fellas.
Namaste. The Lost Initiative is a co-ink production for Sky One.